Hey folks, well, I'm back here on the ranch. Uh, that was an incredible trip. I just took quiet you, cows. Uh, that shakedown hike that I did, the ocean to lake trail down here in Florida, it was just incredible. Nothing that I've ever done before. Anything even came close to this. Totally different world. Hiking in Florida. I'm prepared for wetness. When you see this photo coming, not photo, videos of the last 3 days, there's nothing this trail is going to throw at me as far as wetness that will really deter me now. The cold maybe, but water, not a problem. But what I want to do first is I had a good shakedown with my new pack, the ULA circuit. And some of you may not know this, most of you don't know this, but I've been suffering from a shoulder injury for a couple of years now. And it was because I had a bad pack. And it could have been I wasn't wearing it right, or it just wasn't the pack for me. And I developed a severe shoulder blade tendon slash muscle, I guess, injury. And it's been nagging me for the last couple of years. And that's why I've been going through a lot of packs, because they all seem to be aggravating that shoulder. I would think that the pain went away and I'm all set to go on a trip. I would load the pack, go on a trip, and after the first day into the second day, I'd be in severe pain in my shoulder blade in the back of my back here. So I finally found a pack. I had no discomfort at all, nothing. And I think I figured out why. And I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna take you inside. Unfortunately, I got to take you into my bedroom because I have a full-size mirror, and I can put the pack on, and I'll be able to point to you how I think that pack will help people that have the same problem that I had with my shoulder blades. So I want to do that video first. I'm going to do the shakedown before I unpack it. Now, I just came in last night. I drove home last night. I have not unpacked my pack. So I'm going to put it on now, and then I'm going to show you the difference between this pack and many of the others, how it fits on your shoulder. And then you can make the determination if it's something that you feel that you want to move to, or just stay with the standard packs. One thing I need to say though is the ultralight packs, being light, to become light, they really skimp on a lot of support. They go with shoelace straps instead of your 1.25 inch. They go with narrower, thinner pads, hip and shoulder pads, and that's fine if you're pushing a 10-pound base weight. But that's a small percentage of us. Most of us are light backpackers that push a 15 to 20-pound base weight. I would say that's 3/4 of us. And then you add your food and you add your water, and now you're pushing a 30-pound pack. 28 to 30 pounds is about the average for a thru hiker, for an average thru hiker. So those ultralight packs, I know you're trying to cut your weight, but they have to cut their weight also, and they cut it out of the support. So let me go inside. I still have, well, I'm not going to get into the other name brands that I had issues with. I'm just going to probably explain to you the difference between the two and show you how this ULA fits on me. I don't want to downgrade any of the other companies. They're good packs. They just did not work for me in my situation, and probably yours too. We'll see. So let me go inside, put on the pack, and then I'll go from there. Okay. And then next week, I will, well, the next video I'll do will be of the 3 days of me hiking the Ocean to Lake Trail. You got to see this video. It's yeah. If you want to do a shakedown, come down. If you want to do the PCT, you come down here and hike in 90-degree temperature in a swamp. That'll get you ready for the PCT, and that'll get you ready for the Appalachian rains that are coming. So stay tuned for that video. That's you'll see. All right, let me go inside, put on the other pack. All right, I'll be right back with you. Okay, welcome to my bedroom. All right, I got to show you this pack now. A lot of the other packs, like I said, use these shoelace straps, basically, to shave weight. And then they use these real thin foam pads. And what happens is that because the straps are so narrow, they actually dig in to the foam. They really don't give you any support at all. It actually hurts after a few days of hiking. Those little thin straps, really, they dig in. So this again is the ULA Circuit. And I also have the Catalyst, which is my winter pack. It's a 75 liter. This is a 60, should have this down at 65 or 68 liter, 68 liter. And it was perfect. I had my bear canister in here. Actually, my raccoon canister. If you saw my previous video, you'll see how I made a raccoon canister. It only came in the 1 pound. There were no bears on this trail, or there were, but they're not an issue. It's the raccoons that were an issue, so I had no problem with them. And that's all in here. The only thing I didn't pack in here was my extreme midwinter layers, like my my big woolen hat, my big down puffy gloves, a couple of my winter. I have a winter balaclava that I wear. My seal skin water socks, and my puffy. I took out my puffy. I didn't need a puffy, but I did keep my Arc'teryx soft outer shell, just in case I thought it was going to get cool at night, which the lowest temperature we had at night was like 70 degrees. I didn't realize that. But anyway, I had about 30 with all my electronics, my camera gear and everything, and 3 days of food. I was at 30 pounds. And then just this 1 liter of water. My other water you saw is on my trekking poles. And then in the mornings, at every campsite they had water. They supplied us a gallon of fresh water at every campsite. So that worked out pretty good. So in the morning I may have carried an extra liter out, which I'm glad I did. I needed it. So I didn't have to actually do any filtering from the swamp water. I'm giving away the story here, but this is the next video coming. Yes, I hiked in the swamp for 3 days. So I didn't have to filter any of that water. I had regular fresh water that I was able to use. Getting back to this pack. So you can see how they have all, ULA uses a 1-inch strap here. And on the waist, instead of having a narrow foam band, you can see how wide. Look at how wide it's. My hip belt is the width of my hand. That's how wide that foam pad is. And they don't have. Let me get rid of this. and they don't have one strap. They have two straps that come into one. So here are the two straps. They have an upper and lower. So depending on how many extra layers you have on your hip, you can angle your hip belt that really dials in the fit on your hip. This is 90% of your pack weight is right here. We have traditional packs. This is only like maybe 60%, and the other 40% is on your shoulders. I can't have any weight on my shoulders because of my nerve and my muscle back here that I damaged a couple of years ago. So basically my whole pack is on my weight. If I were to undo, see what happens? It's like a hinge. My hip belt is like a hinge. My pack just goes right back. And that's kind of what I need. I don't want my pack, if I were to undo my hip belt, I don't want my pack resting on my shoulders, because when I'm hiking, the weight, a pack that has that characteristic, it's pulling your shoulders back and your neck is being forward, especially when you're going, let me think, when you're going down, or when you're hiking basically, because you're looking at the ground for snakes or obstacles. And so your neck is forward, your shoulders are being pushed back, and that created a nerve damage. And a few people I've noticed on YouTube, they're having that issue. And they're going to therapy, and they're doing all kinds of arm exercises. That's not going to cure it. You got to get the weight. You got to distribution the weight differently. You don't want the weight pulling down. You just want the weight here. You want the weight of your pack. You want the force here to keep the pack from falling over. You don't want your whole backpack resting and pulling the weight down, because that's where I end up having my problem. So let me readjust this. Okay, so this is how I hike. Now you see the load lifters up here. See how high they are? They're almost even with my ear. And these here, these are the low lifters that pull the pack in and out. And right here is an adjustment for that load lifter. You can slide that all the way back, or you can slide it forward, and that's the weight of your pack. This is where the weight is distributed off your shoulder. So I have these just forward of my shoulder blade. So my pack is not pulling down. My pack is pulling from here that way. So it's only keeping the pack from falling over. It is not any way being supported by my shoulder. And 3 days of hiking, I could not do that with any of the other packs. I wouldn't even be able to lift my arm this high. I'd be in such pain. And I have, knock on wood, no issues at all. It worked perfect. So what I do here, I just bring this in a little bit snug, and you can see how I have a little gap right here. A lot of people, or some manufacturers, are going to say, oh, you're not wearing the pack right. Probably I'm not, but that works for me. I don't want any weight on my shoulder. I want the weight to come from here. I can support my pack from here, not from here. And also this gives me I was in 90-degree heat the last day, and that helped keep me a little cooler in my back. You can see the air gap right here. So it gave me a little ventilation, and the pack is snug. It's not going anywhere, but the whole pack is based on my hips. And I just want to explain that to you. If you have shoulder problems, it's because the pack is pulling down on your shoulder, and you're trying to, actually I can feel it. When I go like this, I can feel the muscle in my back. So I don't have to do that anymore. I can just It's just so comfortable. So keep that in mind. If you're having shoulder problems, you need to find a pack where the load lifters are higher. A lot of the load lifters are like right about here on packs. And with the load lifter down here, it's actually pulling down. The pack is pulling down on your shoulder. So you want a pack where the load lifters are higher so that the weight is being pulled from here, not, you know, down this way, okay? So I don't know, hopefully you'll understand that. But this is the circuit. This is how I have it all packed. This is my duplex tent. I don't carry any water on my pack. So this is the duplex tent. It fits right in the pocket. I have my stakes in here. My ground cloth is in here. And then these are my poles for my duplex. At either end of my duplex, head and toe, I used to put stakes in the ground so that the guideline would come straight out and then it would be staked. And by doing that, it actually gives you like a good 8 inches more on either side inside your duplex. It just opens up the duplex. Instead of having the guideline come off the tent straight down, it doesn't really pull the fabric out to give you more room on the inside. So by putting a stick here, now the guideline is pulling straight out and it pulls the fabric out to give you that more room inside. So that's what these two, they're 2 dowels, and I put a little V groove at the top so that the guideline for the tent goes through the groove, and then I stake it down. It's basically just like this thing. And then I took a knife, I made a point, so I actually stick it in the ground. So in strong winds, these dowels are not moving on the ground. I mean, they're actually stuck in the ground about 3 inches, and it's pretty solid. So it gives you a little more stability on the duplex too. Give it rigidity in the heavy winds. That is my breakfast bottle where I make, and my electrolytes bottle. I don't like to put electrolytes in here because after a while, although you can replace these on the trail, but the sugar creates mold, especially with the warm temperatures. You're going to get a lot of mold developing in your bottles. Never put electrolytes in if you're a bladder person, it's just going to get funky, really. It's not good for you. So I put my electrolytes, I do an electrolyte drinks in the morning and in the afternoon. I put it in that little jar, and then I just hook it. I just hook it right here. And so I have my fresh water, and then I'll have, I think that's 16 or 20 ounce bottle, and I usually drink those right away. And then the rest of the day I work with my bottle right here. Now this here worked. This worked really well. All I did is I just reached, while I'm hiking, I just reached over and you squeeze the bottle. You want to squeeze a little bit because there's a lot of air in this tube, and you don't want to be swallowing air. Your stomach is you're gonna have a lot of gas. So when the tube is in your mouth, just squeeze a little bit of that air out, and then you can take a good gulp. And off you go. And then I put this little rubber cap on there to keep gnats and keep any dirt from getting on my mouthpiece here. But this worked really. I love this idea. This worked good. And I always knew how much water I had in here. With a bladder, you'll run out of water, and God forbid your next water supply isn't 3 or 4 miles away, because you never know how much water you have in your bladder. Once you drink it dry, that's it. So this way here, I can always see how much water I have in here. And then the waters on my pole, I use those as my reservoirs. And occasionally I'll stop, and then I'll just fill this thing up with the water that I carry on my poles. I'll even it out so they're both the same weight. So that's that. And then this is where I had my phone, and then the GoPro clipped right on here. You've seen that in my other videos. So the GoPro was up here, my phone was here. I did have a waist belt. I'm not doing the waist belts anymore. I gotta have my chest open to get to breathe, to cool off. And when you have the Z-Pack and some of the other fanny packs, I just feel too warm. I need to get some fresh air on my body, my upper body here. So I'm not going to be doing that anymore. I'll figure out a place to put my camera batteries and stuff. I'll rearrange my side pockets. Now look at the size of these side pockets. Look at my hand, how big my hand is. And look at the size of these pockets. You won't believe what I have in here. And a lot of my heavy stuff, like I put my charge cells, I put here. I don't put those in my pack because that adds a lot of weight on your pack. I'd rather have the weight here on my hip. Your hip's going to support it anyway, whether it's up in your back, but it just keeps a lot of the weight, the added weight here from pulling. So a lot of the heavy stuff I put in my packs. And then my food snacks I'll be putting in my pockets here. You know, if I need a bar or some go-up or something, I'll have that in my pants, my hiking pants. Now on this side, I have my umbrella, I have my stove and my gas canister. Then I have all my water filtration back here. I have a small water bottle that I cut for a scoop. And in that, I have my soy filter. And then I have an Evernew bag. And then I also keep my trowel in there too because that's very sharp. So I slide that inside the inside edge of that cut off water bottle so it doesn't put a hole in my pack or anything. So that's basically the pack that I really am in love. Finally, I have a pack that feels super comfortable, no pain. So this is the pack I'm using. It's the circuit is consistently ranked on the AT, the PCT, and I believe the CDT. It's always ranked, never number one, but it's always either second or third of the most used pack on the trails. So that must tell you something right there, that if it wasn't a good pack and not a comfortable pack, it would not be ranking consistently year to year that high on the schedule, on the surveys. So you know, I highly recommend this. So that's it. This is my pack shakedown. Hopefully this is coming out good. I'm kind of looking in the screen here. I think it is. So my next video will be of my 3-day hike on the Ocean to Lake Trail down here in Florida, which was my, I guess you could call this my wet shakedown. All right, hopefully this helped. Any comments, you have any questions, scroll down in the comment section, just write down there your questions. Right now I'm answering everybody's questions. I have the time, but once I get on the trail, it's going to be a little more challenging to answer questions. But if you have any now, get them in there now. I have, you know, I still have, probably by the time you see this, I'll have a little over 2 weeks left before I hit the trail. So, all right, hike on, be safe, catch you later.